Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the losers round 7. 2 series left for both of these players, this being one of them. And we're gonna be starting up here in the top right hand corner of the map, on top of the player from Team MYI. Give it up for PtitDrogo. He had a bit of time during the break, filled up his stomach, ate his baguettes, and he's gonna be facing off versus this player in the bottom left, the blue Terran player. Give it up for uThermal, the man, the myth, the legend, who is not proxying anything. It's always worth pointing out with uThermal these days that he's not proxying something, especially with how late it is for both of these players. These two players are exhausted, so you're gonna have to give them a little bit of, cut them a little bit of slack for any mistakes that they make, etc. We definitely saw some from PtitDrogo in that last series, making some mistakes with the Warp Prism micro and everything, not playing hyper optimal 100%, doing everything perfectly. But when you've been playing in qualifiers literally the entire day, it's stressful. It's stressful and it's tiring. So I absolutely understand, especially considering this is, as far as everyone is aware, the last major opportunity to earn WCS points before BlizzCon. So a lot of people are really looking for this big opportunity to try and get their last couple of WCS points, secure their spot at BlizzCon. But alright, we got a factory coming out. Nothing super crazy for uThermal. Got a reactor on the barracks. Only one marine made. I guess that is slightly interesting. Slightly greedier opening for uThermal. Really counting on, I guess, the adept not coming out very early on, as reactor will be finishing up, so you can pump out a couple more marines soon. But fast adept can still get some maybe damage done. No, shading around over to the corner, looking for any sort of SCVs that are sitting around over here. I don't think he would be anticipating a Reaper this late on. Generally, if the Reaper's coming out, it's here earlier. But oh, this cheeky little SCV sitting inside the main base. PtitDrogo lost sight of it, and I think I know where it went. I mean, I do know where it went. It's right here. Starport going to be going up though, and the nice thing about this situation is uThermal's only going to send that in after he feels like the tech is going to be down for PtitDrogo, so he can confirm not just maybe how many, if there's a Roboxility and Twilight Council, he really wants to see the gateway count. That's one of the biggest reveals. And ooh, if he comes in right now, he might be able to see a couple of these gateways. He does move in, sees the Robo, sees the Twilight, and he's seen the pylon over here, so I imagine he's going to be heading in that direction. No, he doesn't. So he's just barely going to miss it. He can assume there's 3 gateways. It'd be a very big surprise if there weren't 3 gateways. There are some Protoss players who maybe are going to go super duper crazy greedy and go for a 3rd Nexus or something before throwing down 3 warp gates, but I think uThermal's pretty content saying, okay, you got a Twilight Council and you got a Robo. I don't have to worry about oracles. I don't have to worry about a really fast, well, maybe you do have to be a bit concerned about potential for like Blink play or something, Blink Warp Prism, or sorry, Blink play, as well as like DT, Warp Prism, and those kinds of plays. He's going to be coming in with the medevac drop now, and he's seen the layout of the base, and this is also going to be helpful, that early scouting from that SCV, to see where the pylons were, because he saw where at least one of the pylons are. He didn't quite catch a glimpse of this pylon at the backside, nor did he catch a glimpse of this pylon, so he's going to be eating a couple of these photon overcharges. In fact, he's going to lose the medevac. Oh no! Big loss over there for uThermal. Getting absolutely nothing done. And the Marines are one thing, it's the medevac that really stings, because you do want to just use that starport to produce things like, yeah, Liberator, or maybe even just getting out more medevac so you can continue aggression on multiple fronts. But losing that first medevac suddenly, even after he eventually gets stim up, or I guess it's not going to be for a while, but until he gets stim up even, if any of his units are taking damage, they're not going to be healed up, because he's not even opting to make another medevac. He's making the Liberator, and the Liberator's build for 45 seconds almost. It's such a long build time compared to most of the other starport units. It can be difficult, and with this big pushing coming across the map, there is a siege tank out for uThermal, but another thing, medevac not out, guess what? You can't pick up the siege tank. You can't reposition it if these stalkers with Blink get on top of it. Now, only 3 warp gates out. PtitDrogo shouldn't be ending the game on this, but oh, blinks forward almost with some star sense, finds the Liberator, is going to be able to soften it up, getting it down to less than half health. Warp Prism comes in, warps in a couple more Stalkers, taking out the supply depot, and uThermal is feeling the heat right now. He wishes he had a medevac so he can move this siege tank forward to help push back some of these Stalkers, but he's not going to have that. He's, in fact, just going to have to pull a bunch of these SCVs. He's already sitting down that work account. Liberator already a little bit lower on health, and it looks like a medevac with a Widow Mine came in over here. A Widow Mine killing off one worker, another Widow Mine killing off three, it seems like. At the same time, we have a big blink forward, sniping off the bunker. It's getting repaired up, and some of the Stalkers are starting to fall. It doesn't seem like PtitDrogo can actually break the front. Where did the Liberator go? Liberator may have ended up dying over there to a couple of these Stalkers during the midst of all of that. So PtitDrogo, busy focusing on the front, trying to kill off that bunker. Or I should say, uThermal trying to move in with the Liberator and siege, or repairing that bunker, ends up losing the Liberator. Looks like the Widow Mines did end up going down, or at least one of them did. Now, one of them is actually still sitting in the mineral line. 4 workers killed now. He's got a decent number killed so far, 15 total. It seems like that other Widow Mine may have actually gotten a lot of kills. Widow Mine is trapped as the 1 health medevac does survive to fight another day, but these Stalkers are still looking for an opportunity to get some damage done. With the medevac's finally out though, the siege tanks can reposition. They can get those free pot shots off as long as he has vision, and there we end up seeing, yeah, probably another Stalker is gonna go down. 2 Stalkers go down. PtitDrogo almost seems like he's not quite paying attention to his Stalkers. Ends up taking some pretty significant losses over there. 3rd expansion is finished up for uThermal. He's just gonna have to land it. PtitDrogo has been mining from his 3rd for a while. Looks like the Widow Mine somehow managed to land and actually start to fire out some shots over there. Killed off 4 more workers. Not too shabby. Definitely not too shabby. And the medevac jukes its way out of there with 1 hit point left. Well done, uThermal. But overall, both these players are sitting on relatively even work counts at the end of all of it. Slightly later 3rd expansion for uThermal, which is never super ideal, but he gets up his +1 weapons. He still has up a bit of an army. He's got out some of those siege tanks for the defensive play, and he's finally gotten out some of those medevacs. Losing all the Liberators did sting a bit, but loses the 1 health medevac. PtitDrogo catches on the rebound, but bunker's not going to be repaired back up, but looks like the rest of the army stims forward and is going to be able to chase that army back. Suddenly seeing all the Adepts is like, wait a second, let's turn around. Don't want to take this just yet. Oh, but seems like he's feeling okay, just kiting against the army, trying to get as many pot shots off as possible, doing that nice stutter step micro that Terrans are so known for. But that is a lot of Adepts to be warping in right now. +1/+1 now finishes up for PtitDrogo, and he takes the lead in the upgrades. +1 armor's on the way for uThermal, but with the Warp Prism moving in to the right-hand side with 4 of those Adepts loaded in, can continue to warp in more of Adepts. He may have to be a bit careful about that missile turret, but if he moves in at both fronts, he can get a substantial amount of damage done. In fact, if he just goes straight over the main base, unload some of those Adepts over there, unload some Adepts in the main base, and then push in at the natural expansion is going to be so difficult for uThermal to deal with, but he moves in. Marines need to focus fire down the Warp Prism, but not opting to do so. A bunker is going to end up falling, and I just think that uThermal straight up does not have the units he needs to defend this. Adepts in the main base, clean up all the Marines, only Marauders left over, a couple of Marines stim forward, but the natural expansion is losing all of its workers, 25 workers left over. PtitDrogo may have already done more than enough. He takes a 4th expansion behind this. He's getting a +2/+2. Immortals being produced, the Adepts still getting damage done. The Stalkers maybe taking a couple of losses over here as they're gonna blink away, but just really buying more space for these Adepts to kill off even more workers. 10 workers left over, and that count is still falling. Where even are the remaining 7 workers? I'm not even sure that uThermal knows where they are. I guess they're all sitting over at that 3rd expansion. Luckily for him, he killed off the Warp Prism, so they're gonna be safe for a little bit. But quite literally, this is the only base mining right now. 1 worker on each gas geyser. And uThermal's all in. He can't even pull the boys for this. 2-2 may even end up finishing up before uThermal hits with this push in. 4th expansion may end up going down, but honestly, it just acts as a delaying point. Stalkers blink out, not taking any losses, probably wants to move that weakened Stalker to the backside, does not do so, and ends up losing it. But this is the thing. PtitDrogo doesn't have to directly engage over here. He just has to wait until the Siege Tank siege up and then back up, or the Liberator siege up. Now he focus fires down one of the Liberators, kills it off before he gets a shot off. Stalkers blink forward, trying to focus fire down another Liberator. Immortal's doing a ton of damage on the backside, and it seems like uThermal loses not only his economy, but also his army. The army is continuing to fight as he pulls back, doing some really cute and nice micro with these siege tanks, but loses a siege tank, loses a medevac. The Immortal's still alive, and they've mostly got Marauders and siege tanks to fire against. GG gets called. PtitDrogo takes the 1-0 lead in this series and is on a roll that cannot be stopped. And uThermal has got to do something about this. He has got to halt this momentum. Now, I do believe, as we took a look at that match history page, that the last couple times these players faced up against each other, uThermal was the one that won. It was a 2-0 in the last qualifier, and that was the most recent event. Before that, it was 3 months ago. Actually, exactly 3 months ago to the day. Let me make sure we get the invite to the next game. But, it's been a 3-3 in terms of series score, and it's been back and forth. You know, one player wins, uThermal wins one series, PtitDrogo wins the other series. uThermal wins the series, PtitDrogo wins the series. So it's been pretty back and forth, but it seems like PtitDrogo may be able to inch out to that small little lead once again, getting to 4-3 potentially. He is sitting one game away from it. We're heading into the map up Apotheosis. Apothecary map thing. And there is the start countdown. So we'll see you guys on Apotheosis. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're hopping into game number 2. I want to give another weird shout out to Citizen NA20. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, not BaseTradeTV, my channel. I appreciate it. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2, as I update the score screen, we have up here in the top left-hand corner of Apotheosis, the red Protoss player, currently sitting up 1-0, still coming off the back of the 2-0 he had in that last series. Give it up for PtitDrogo. And his opponent in the bottom right, we got the blue Terran player. Give it up for the man who's trying to make the comeback. He's had a long day as well. It's uThermal. Who is not going for a proxy. I feel like I should just make that a thing in my cast. Anytime I ever cast uThermal, he will play on like an 8-player map. It's like, it's worth noting he's not going for a proxy. Well, of course he's not going for a proxy if you're, well, yeah, but it's uThermal. But he is going for a 1-1-1 opening. Probe is, interestingly enough, also going to be coming in over here. Before that second supply depot comes down, it sends out a very early probe scout. Maybe also concerned about the proxies. And even the probe actually checking around for the Reapers, and now after seeing that factory is going to say, okay, I know what this is going to be able to go back to mining. And throws down, he's already got his Nexus coming down. Well, he's going to definitely be a bit more careful. Getting out a faster robot facility is a pretty typical response to this. You want to get out some sort of response to get out a Immortal to help deal with Cyclone harassment. You also want to get an Observer because you can be able to deal with the Widow Mine drops as well as also the Banshee play. But one really common thing on Frozen Temple is the 1-1-1 push-in where you get out the Siege Tank, you get out the Cyclone, you add on a Raven, in fact. And it can be a really scary push-in, but uThermal on this map, and especially having been scouted out this early on, I don't know if he can make this work. uThermal, of course, much better player than I am. We'll see if he can make it. There is going to be Magfield Accelerator. It's going to give him some really nice damage on those Cyclones, as well as that additional lock-on range. Not that he locks on from a closer location. Well, actually, no, does it? Wait, did they? I think they changed it at some point. Yeah, I must actually be totally full of it. It doesn't increase the amount of range for a lock-on. Just goes to show you that sometimes even the commentators don't know anything. And then there's that one guy in the chat who's like, just goes to show you the commentators never know anything in this game. Hoo hoo hoo. Alright, well, Cyclone gonna lock onto the Adept. Shouldn't be taking any additional hits from this Adept if he controls it well. And does control it relatively well, and he takes a couple of those early shots. But now PtitDrogo knows exactly what's going to be coming out. I mean, seeing the Cyclone is a pretty big reveal. Barracks is going across the map. Now, maybe there's some variations on this that I'm not familiar with, but generally I end up seeing the Marines being made to add into extra damage to this push-in. But that's not at all what uThermal is going for. Rock's going to be knocked down over here. Does uThermal see that? I don't know if he actually saw the rocks being knocked down. Okay, well, he sees it now, so may try and get a lock on the Mushroom Core. Oh, getting a lock on the Mushroom Core is a huge deal, but the Stalkers will be able to break it, because if you don't maintain vision, can't really do a whole lot. Barracks could be helpful in maintaining that vision, and this Cyclone's gonna try and come in from the low ground, but it takes so many pot shots at the same time. A couple of SCVs also coming in. This is looking more and more like it's going to be the second factory coming out. This is almost like the Ghost Pepper cheese build, where it is something that I think was coined by Nathanius, done on maps with very, very short rush distances, such as... I'm blanking on the name. I put myself on the spot, but it's that old map from the last ladder map pool with really, really short rush distances. You have the island expansion between the two bases. Hopefully somebody will actually say it and I won't just make myself look like a total fool. But this could be really effective. It's just that it's normally done on maps that have really, really short rush distances. And I don't know if it's gonna work over here. There's enough time to get out an Immortal. And now you can see in this, the Immortal can also get picked off very quickly by some of these Cyclones. Pylons are also getting picked off very quickly. The Adepts do shade on forward. Gonna be soaking up a lot of these hits from these, from uThermal Cyclones. A couple of the SCVs still sit in the back line. Those SCVs are surprisingly important for repairing up these Cyclones. It really does make a huge difference. Barracks is also gonna be nice for maintaining that vision of the pylons, of the stalkers, and just trying to get as many additional shots off as possible. The last pylon is going to be going down. There's another pylon further back, but it's nothing on the front line. More of these stalkers are going to get picked off, but no, nice War Prism micro is going to keep them alive a little bit longer as he does the pickups. Needs to be careful that Mothership Core is getting focus fire down now by a Cyclone. He's chasing with it. He does end up losing it, unfortunately. And PtitDrogo is going to be relying purely now on gateway units. That War Prism is so important to keep alive. Even the Observer gets picked off over here. But a couple of the Cyclones do end up losing their lives. Only one Cyclone lost this game, amazingly enough. A couple of workers have also died. I think that the workers have died mostly due to, I guess, repairing up and helping out over here on the other side of the map, more so than any kind of harassment. I don't think I missed any harassment. But now, this is the really dangerous point where he's going to really rely on good micro and loses a Stalker over there, even though he had some rune in the Warp Prism. But it is difficult. It is not an easy task to have really on-point micro when you have this many Cyclones locking on all at the same time and breaking the connection on those lock-ons repeatedly. Oh my god, kills off another Observer. That's so annoying. But another Warp Prism in. I really like this decision for PtitDrogo. Behind this, by the way, Natural Expansion is finally being plopped down. Barracks is also going down once again since he ended up losing that Barracks, I believe. Let's see. Structures lost tab. No? Okay, there we go. Structures lost. We got a Barracks that was lost earlier on. So he has to remake that if he wants to make any more factories. Not that I think he needs more factories. It's more probably... Well, he's still making Cyclones. Maybe he is going to go full mech. Maybe David Kim didn't need to buff mech. The uThermal's about to prove us wrong. Delaying the third expansion is going to be somewhat nice, but uThermal's still sitting behind so many workers. Gets up a missile turret because he says, well... It's been a while. I haven't really seen that many tech units out from my opponent. My opponent's army isn't actually looking as scary as it really should be in this situation. Nice identification from him, so he's going to immediately just plop down those missile turrets, and he's going to be guessing right since there is a Dark Shrine on the way, although missile turret does not guarantee defending versus the Dark Shrine, especially with the second War Prism out. uThermal really may not be anticipating this. He might be moving in, spotting out that War Prism that PtitDrogo has on the front line and saying, well, your War Prism's over here, so it's not attacking me, but little does he know, Dark Shrine finished up. War Prism on the other side of the map should be getting ready to warp in some DTs. And there they are, 3 DTs being warped in. 2 for one mineral line and probably for that missile turret going to the main base, and 1 for the other. And uThermal's really just not getting the free damage done that he needs. He's killing off a couple units every so often, but DT, did it actually move in? I guess he's getting some really nice damage done now. Killing off a lot of these Adepts, killing off a lot of the Stalkers. PtitDrogo really needs to be more careful about this now, because now it's almost like he's overcommitted. Now some of the immortals are going to be falling. At the same time, though, DT is walking their way straight into the main base. Missile turret's not getting focus fire down, but there's nothing here to defend. There's going to be a Cyclone popping out pretty soon. There's some energy for scans available. At the same time, though, is uThermal even really fully aware of this? Can he afford the APM to micro on both fronts, to micro a Cyclone around, avoiding 3 DTs at the same time that he also micros in at the front with these Cyclones? Or he ends up losing a few. He scans, kills off some of those DTs. These DTs have taken out the supply depot at the front. Looks like that Cyclone was able to get some damage done to those DTs, though. I think there's only 1 DT left around, and now with the Cyclones and the supply and the missile turret over there, he should be okay. Needs to stay with some energy to get out another scan. Killing off a couple of workers. Could kill off this 3rd expansion. And that would be nice, but he's down to 16 workers. He's lost so many to the DT harassment. Locks onto a pylon, hoping to get some pickoffs over here. Mothercore still alive. Big Stalker blink forward, killing off a couple of these Cyclones. That's a big deal. uThermal cannot afford to replenish those. Oh my god, is this command center about to burn down? uThermal not repairing the command center. You need to repair the command center. You need to send an SCV to repair the command center. I know you're busy microing these Cyclones. uThermal. Oh! Alright, well, gives uThermal a slightly better chance in this game. I mean, these Cyclones still have got a lot of work to do. 3rd expansion survives over here with the against the Cyclones. Cyclones are coming back in for a round 2. The barracks is also here to continue to provide vision. Gonna be able to lock onto some of the Stalkers. The Stalkers blink forward, focusing down 2 of the Cyclones immediately. uThermal taps out, but PtitDrogo takes the 2-0. Whoop. Wrong screen. Takes the 2-0 and advances on to the final round of today's bracket. Not the final round of the qualifier, but final round of today's bracket. And man, that guy has been doing quite well for himself today. Obviously ended up losing 2-0 versus Kelazur, but he took the 2-0 versus Raynor, he took the 2-0 versus Bly, and now taking the 2-0 versus uThermal, moves on to face off versus a Laser. And that is going to be in what will be the last match that these 2 players have to play today. We're going to hop to a short little break as we get that next series started, so we'll see you guys in just a little bit.